Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something pretty specific, a health issue in Irish setters.
That's right. We're looking at a condition called gluten enteropathy.
Yeah, we've got this report here, and the idea is to really understand it. What is it? What's going on with these dogs?
Exactly. And how do we manage it?
So let's start there. What is this gluten thing in Irish setters?
Right. So fundamentally, it's an inherited sensitivity. They react badly to gluten, which, is the protein mainly in wheat, but also rye and barley.
Okay, inherited, so it runs in families.
Seems like it. The science points towards likely a single recessive gene controlling it.
Huh. And what does it actually do to the dog's system?
It mainly hits the gut. Imagine the inside of the small intestine has these tiny finger-like things called villi. They absorb nutrients.
Right, essential for digestion.
Absolutely. Well, in these sensitive setters, gluten causes these villi to shrink and flatten. That's called villous atrophy.
Which means they can't absorb food properly.
Precisely. And on top of that, they produce fewer digestive enzymes. You get immune cells flooding the area. It causes inflammation.
Okay, wow. So the gut lining gets quite damaged.
Yeah. And you also see more mucus production. It's a whole reaction triggered by that gluten.
And you said Irish setters. Is it only them?
Pretty much. It really seems specific to the breed, typically showing up when they're, young adults, maybe middle-aged.
That's fascinating. Not seen in other breeds. Or cats.
Nope, the reports really focus just on Irish setters. Makes it quite unique.
So if you have an Irish setter, what signs should you look out for?
Well, it can be a bit subtle sometimes. Things like poor weight gain,
Yeah.
maybe even weight loss, just generally not thriving.
Poor doing.
Exactly. And then there's the digestion, usually mild diarrhea. Sometimes it comes and goes. Small intestinal type.
Okay. Maybe occasional vomiting too.
Sometimes, yeah. And the key thing is, feed them something with gluten, and these signs tend to get worse.
Right, the diet link. So diagnosing it must be tricky because those signs could be lots of things.
Oh, absolutely. You have to rule out a whole list. Things like general inflammatory bowel disease, infections, Giardia, worms.
Metabolic problems, pancreas issues.
Yep, all of those need to be considered. Standard blood tests and urine tests might actually look normal.
Really? Not helpful.
Sometimes they show low protein, maybe because they're not absorbing it well. And you might see a slight increase in a type of white blood cell, eosinophils.
Okay, so hints, but nothing definite.
Correct. There are some more specific blood tests, though. Checking folate levels can be useful.
Folate, why that?
Because folate is absorbed in the first part of the small intestine. If it's low, it points towards malabsorption happening there.
Makes sense. And tests for parasites or pancreas function?
Usually come back normal in these cases, which helps rule those out. Interestingly, X-rays or ultrasound, they aren't really diagnostic here.
So you can't just see it on a scan. What's the definitive test then?
You need to look at the gut lining directly. That means getting intestinal biopsies.
Okay, taking little samples of tissue?
Yeah, exactly. Usually from a specific part called the jejunum. This is typically done with endoscopy, sticking a small camera down there.
Minimally invasive, usually.
Yeah. Or sometimes it might require actual surgery.
And what do those biopsies show?
Under the microscope, if the dog's been eating gluten, you'll see that villous atrophy, the flattened villi, and the extra immune cells in the lining.
Ah, direct evidence.
And crucially, you see improvement when the dog's on a gluten-free diet. And then, if gluten is reintroduced, the damage comes back. That really confirms it.
Right, the challenge response seals it. So treatment sounds pretty clear then.
It is. The absolute cornerstone is a strict, lifelong gluten-free diet.
Meaning no wheat, obviously. What else?
No rye, no barley, no triticale. You also have to watch out for hidden sources like brewer's yeast, sometimes even wheat starch.
Got it. Total avoidance. Any medication needed?
Well, if the folate levels were really low, then yes, folate supplements would be given for a while.
And follow up. Just keep feeding the right food.
Pretty much. Maybe rechecking folate levels periodically could be a good idea for some dogs.
Okay, so to wrap up, Irish setter gluten enteropathy. It's inherited. Gluten's the trigger, causes digestive damage. And the fix is a strict gluten-free diet for life.
That's the core of it.
The real aha for me here is how specific it is. One gene, one breed, one dietary protein causing such a distinct problem. It really underlines that genetics-environment link, doesn't it?
It really does. And that leads to a kind of provocative thought, doesn't it?
Go on.
Well, if this specific genetic setup makes Irish setters react this way to gluten, what else is out there? What other subtle, or maybe not so subtle, genetic predispositions might be influencing dietary needs or sensitivities in other dog breeds?
Or even other species, humans included.
Exactly. It makes you wonder what future research into the genetics of gut health might uncover. There's probably a lot more to learn there.
Definitely food for thought. Thanks for breaking that down.
My pleasure.